The relationship between the Gikuyu tribe of Kenya and the Europeans was illustrated by a Gikuyu story as told in Jomo Kenyatta's book, Facing Mount Kenya. My poetic interpretation of that story follows. A Gikuyu story. The Gikuyu and the British. An elephant and man were friends like kin. When a heavy thunderstorm came, the elephant asked to put his trunk in to protect it from heavy rain. The man then replied, "Pay the size no heed. My hut can hold your trunk and me." The elephant gave thanks for his friend's deed and promised how kind he would be. In went the trunk, then slowly came the head. The whole hut elephant did gain. Now the elephant had the hut instead, and the man was out in the rain. The elephant's words caused the man disgust. "My friend, your skin's harder than mine. There is not enough room for both of us. The hut will protect me just fine." The man was peeved and started to grumble. Forest animals heard the noise. They came and they heard the vocal rumble. Man and elephant lost their poise. Quite soon the lion came and loudly roared. He growled in the jungle, "I'm king." In his kingdom he wanted peace restored, or he would do his kingly thing. In the jungle, the elephant had rank. He was named a high minister. So he spoke to the king soft and yet frank, while he planned something sinister. That they quarreled, the elephant denied. He and the man discussed a hut. The hut that the elephant occupied seemed to have created a rut. A commission ministers would appoint. The lion decreed to seek peace. The commission would come to a just point, so the grumbling could quickly cease. The lion praised the man for his kinship to the animals without hate, praised the man for the elephant's friendship, his honored minister of state. The king told the man his hut was no loss, should the man choose to state his case. He was soothed by words from the jungle boss and thought he'd soon regain his space. The elephant, as a high minister, would help to name the commission. The elders chosen would administer evidence without omission. Ministers, rhinoceros, buffalo, and Mr. Alligator shared. On the commission, they'd give it a go with two more jungle lords who cared. The Right Honorable Fox was chairman. That he'd serve was a well-known fact. Mr. Leopard was hailed as a fair man. As secretary, he would act. Seeing the commission, the man was cross. His side was not represented. Sensing that the outcome would be his loss, the commission he resented. Inclusion from his side was excluded. Till commission's expiration, no one from his side would be included. They lacked proper education. What the man was told would stick in his craw. From the truth they would never veer. His side knew not fine points of jungle law. The commission would make things clear. God chose the commission to help races, certainly those with a few flaws. any race lacking adequate traces of an animal's teeth and claws. On the commission were those of repute. All of them were chosen by God. Each gentleman was certainly astute. Justice for all, their common prod. The commission sat to take evidence. The elephant was the first called. Of course, Mr. Elephant was immense, and his version surely enthralled. The elephant spoke in a telling voice, creating beginning and end. As always with me, it became my choice to protect the needs of my friend. A misunderstanding occurred one day between myself and my good friend. I saved his hut from getting blown away by a storm he could not defend. In the man's hut was unoccupied space, and of course I could do no less. Into that space I promptly put my face to deter the hurricane's mess. It was for the man's interest, by chance, that I performed that duty well, much as you would have in that circumstance, had that duty on you befell. After the elephant had testified, Mr. Hyena was called next. The hyena and others verified and upheld the elephant's text. When the man was called to give his account, he was quickly cut short instead. The issues he stated seemed not to count. None were apt, commissioners said. All the facts have already been stated by an unimpeachable group. Their testimony we long awaited, and now the truth we can recoup. Was your space undeveloped, my dear sir, before the elephant moved in? Before the man could or could not concur, the panel interrupted him. They assumed his no and would hear no more, but stated his view was absurd. Contrasting sides had been brought to the floor, and no more needed to be heard. Before announcing the commission's call, decorum was not to be breached. Mr. Elephant bought big meals for all just before the verdict was reached. Misunderstanding has caused your quarrels. Views without substance you have spilled. Your non-issues will earn you no laurels. The elephant's debt was fulfilled. You've accused the elephant of abuse, but your assets were protected. The elephant put the space to good use when empty space was projected. That the space should be put to its best use came out to be best for your good. You accused elephant of clear misuse, when for you he did all he could. What he has done for you is for the good. And since you chose not to expand, in our decision we did what we should, lauded him for his helping hand. In the decision that you both must heed, we think that it's best for both sides. You build a new hut, best for what you need, but in the hut your friend resides. For the man, the verdict had many flaws. Although told he'd be protected, he feared quick exposure to teeth and claws, so he did what they suggested. The man built one more hut, lickety-split. Mr. Rhinoceros barged in. With his horns lowered, he made the man quit, not unlike his elephant friend. A royal commission was appointed to look into the man's new claim. Toward justice, the commission was pointed and the verdict came out the same. Each time the man would construct a new hut, an animal would soon appear. Up to his hut that animal would strut, and each verdict was made so clear. Misters Hyena, Leopard, Buffalo, each increased the man's constant rut. The animals made the man feel so low whenever he built a new hut. The commission granted no help for him. Himself he would have to protect. Erecting houses but for only them was something he grew to expect. You can fool people for a given time, but you can't do that forever. That was the proverb, to untie each crime and from his friends somehow sever. Each hut where Jungle Lord did reside was a varied form of decay. The man would build a hut unoccupied and just a short distance away. Virtues of the hut he did not conceal. They were there for any to see. Bigger and better was partial appeal, and what he wanted it to be. Mr. Rhinoceros sought to live there, but the elephant slept inside. A window entry the leopard thought fair, and others looked there to reside. Misters Lion, Fox, and Buffalo, too, entered through hut doors. They explored, howling in shade hyena loved to do. The roof alligator adored. First the lords argued habitation rights. Through disputes the man never frowned. So quickly their disputes turned into fights, while the man's hut burned to the ground. Jungle lords and all burned up with the hut. The commission was now destroyed. To his new hut no longer would they strut. By them he would not be annoyed. The man burned the hut for his recompense and thought it not a disaster. The piece was costly, but worth the expense. He lived happily thereafter.